Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wasalam, rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Tariq Khalid. I'd like to go into our program here at Sharjah Media Corporation. Getting to know Allah, getting closer to Allah, getting closer to your Lord, getting to understand Him. What is your duty to Him? What has He promised you? Many people don't say, well, Allah's promised me something. Allah's made a promise. Sure, if you're going to obey Him, He has promised you. So we need to understand that relationship, why it is important to have this relationship, and what will be your condition if you're devoid of it. What is your condition if you're devoid of it? Even though you may not understand it or sense it, you think that you're okay, that everything is all right. And you know, I used to be one of those people. I used to think everything was okay. Man, I don't intentionally harm people. I don't get involved with the kinds of things, the negative things that people do in the society. I try to be a person who is doing positive things in the society in which I live. And I try to think and be positive and not harmful to people or their society in which I live. But I found that that's not enough. And that each one of us, we have to want more. We have to want more for ourselves. We have to want more for our family. We have to want more for our society. And if our society is to progress, we must strive in this way, similarly to the way that we strive for our material gain. And even more so, to maintain some kind of stability. Other than this, we have nothing to repel the attacks of Satan and evil people. Yeah, I'm admitting to people, there's evil people out there, no question about it, who openly, flagrantly, intentionally will oppress you if you allow it, will attack you if you allow it, will take your rights from you if you allow it. So there are people like this today globally everywhere. And unfortunately, many of them are successful at that, even though the success is temporary. And this is how they are deluded. They're deluded that they are powerful and that they have the ability to oppress other people. It is temporary. All of the oppressors will come before Allah. And this is something that each one of us have to be careful of. That we can be oppressors, yeah, in a small version maybe, in our household, with our wives, with our children, in the workplace. I've seen people abuse others in the workplace in a way which was disrespecting them, abusing them, which has nothing to do with the work. That what gives you the right to do this to his individual because you've been given a position that you have the right to insult or abuse another person, and he's just come to do a job. Your position doesn't give you that right. And this is a very high form of ignorance and darkness. But I've seen it in my lifetime. And it is truly ignorant, and the person will have to account. This is a form of oppression. We need to understand this. And I'm speaking this to the oppressors. And most of the time, the people that I've found who are oppressors, they don't see themselves as this. They see this as their right. They have become deluded and in denial and steeped in darkness. And unfortunately, many of them are supported by other people who keep them deluded, who make them feel powerful. It is a huge error. One of the most beloved of Allah is the person who speaks the truth in the face of a tyrant. We know this is extremely difficult to do because your life could be at risk. But there have been people historically who have done that. There are people who have been brave who have done this, who felt that maybe no one has ever informed this individual that you are a creation of Allah. You will have to account and answer to Allah. That Allah has given you respite for a very short time, 60 or 70 years or thereabout, which is nothing if we relate it to time. And you will have to account for those actions which you have taken, which are clearly, distinctly opposed to the laws of Allah. Well, the guy says, well, you know, I don't know the laws of Allah. He says, well, all of the laws globally, in every country in the world, in some way are impacted by Allah's law. It may not be presented as such, but surely the impact is there. So in many instances, in obeying or disobeying the common law where we live, we are obeying or disobeying Allah in many instances. We need to look at that. People say, well, I'm not a religious person, or I don't believe in religion. I don't believe in God. I'm doing my own thing. Fine. If that is what you choose, I suggest that you study, that you sit with people of knowledge and study. And then after you study, look at the conclusions that you've come to, because those conclusions are extremely narrow-minded, and from the long-term perspective, you wind up in a very, very serious dilemma. If you're looking at a person who would look at me, or if you know people who would look at me and say, well, look at that guy there. I don't want to be like him. What he's talking about, you know, this is foolishness. I don't accept this. Well, maybe my presentation is not something that is desirable to you. I accept that. Maybe the way I look is not something that is acceptable to you. I don't have an issue with that either. Personally, I had one person tell me he came to find out something about Islam, and he told me, he says, I don't like Americans. So I said, listen, myself being American and you being what you are is of no consequence. It is of no significance. What you have come to understand is about the truth. It is a separate issue. So let's close that door. Let's not look at that from this perspective. This is not my major concern right now. You have your feelings based on your experience or whatever it is that makes you feel that way. I can sit here and try to convince you that I'm not like you think I am, or I'm not one of those people that you dislike. But that will take up our time. Let's talk about the fact. And the fact of the matter is that every single human being needs to know who his Lord is, what his status is with his Lord, what is his requirements. What will happen if you do not understand who is your Lord and you do not fulfill those requirements? We do this every day, all of us, in one way or another. We fulfill some requirements somewhere, somehow. And most of us have done it most of our life. Even if you're in your household, you're fulfilling some obligations in your household. You must, or you won't survive, simply. Some places in the world, you cannot, okay, let's take it down to the minimum. Right now, it is very cold. Okay? They live on a fireplace, no electricity. So you need to have wood to burn, to keep warm, or to cook your food, or you need coal, or some places they're using cow dung, or whatever it is, you need some material to burn to keep your house warm. You will die if you don't do what is necessary, what is required to make a fire. Simply, you will freeze to death. I'm just using this as a simple example. Some places, the opposite, extremely hot. If you do not make effort to get water, okay, and to keep whatever facility you're living in cool, you will die from dehydration. So all of us in some way have to perform some duties in relationship to our survival, even if we take it to the lowest level. I'll ask you a question. Above and beyond that requirement, what are you doing about your eternity? Ask yourself this. Think about it. When this program is over, sit down, get a piece of paper, think about it. What am I doing about my eternity? First question, what is eternity? Person says, I don't know what you mean. Okay, fine. When you die, what are you doing? Well, when I'm dead, people say, when I'm dead, man, it's over. I'm finished. What do you mean? It's over. Is it? We say no. So we challenge you on that. We say no. When you die, you're just starting another phase of your existence, which will be eternal. There'll be no death. Guy says, well, it's the first time I've heard that. I said, okay, fine. It's the first time. You can investigate it. It's no issue. But we're trying to give you a different understanding of your life, your existence, that Allah created you in this way. And you will go through phases in your existence that when you die, this is not the end of your life. This world that we're in now is not this is not it. This is not the ultimate. People are trying to present this to you because they want to exploit it. They want to get the benefit from you. They want your money. They want your mind. They want your ability to work. Whatever it might be, there are other people that want to exploit what it is that you have and use it for their own access and benefit. So they want you to be focused on what it is that's beneficial for them, not necessarily what is beneficial for you. And Satan has influenced that in such a manner to put people in confusion about this because he knows your time is limited. So he wants you to be confused about this. Not understand where it is that you're going, where your life is going. Oh, no, it's over. Just take me and put me in ashes and put me in a little jar like that and keep me on the fireplace. Allah, what would be left? Or just take my ashes and scatter them to the wind. This is foolishness. That's right. This is foolishness. You will not escape the judgment of Allah like this. This is foolishness. Simple. I'll give you a simple example. If you don't believe this, if you've seen the pictures of, if you've never seen it yourself, sperm in an electron microscope. If you look at that, and if you take one of these huge wrestlers or football players that weighs 350 pounds, 7 foot tall, okay, all muscle. Just think of anyone that you know like this. Huge man. Okay? And look again in the microscope and look at that. You cannot make a comparative analysis. You cannot believe, we know this is a fact, but from this sperm drop and this little egg, this huge human being came from that. If we look at it, it doesn't conclude that that could be, that it could be possible. But it is possible. And we know it is possible. And we know it happens every single day. How? Ask yourself a question. How? Does this happen per chance? It takes place of its own accord? Sure, we know a man has to have a relationship with a woman. Well, now they're even doing it outside with the test tube babies, okay, which we see now you have a generation of them. Okay, an example. Okay, so what are we saying? But who made the sperm and the egg? Who makes them come together and formulate this embryo? Who? How does this happen? How does this guy get to be like this? 350 pounds, 7 foot tall. How? His mother and his father made him like that? They constructed him? How? This is a simple analogy which all of us know. So a person who's in denial about the existence of the Creator, this is foolishness. This is foolishness. And that person is deluded and will be locked into his world and will happen. When he comes to the next phase of his existence, he'll be totally lost. When the angels put his soul back in his body, he will not have a clue of what to answer or what will be next. He'll be lost. And what will happen because of that? Because of what he did in this life. Because he didn't pay attention. Because he didn't listen. He'll be punished in the grave. That's right. Billions of people right now are being punished in their grave. It doesn't matter if they're ashes, whatever. That is of no significance. The next dimension, Allah recreates who he wants, how he wants. He created us again from this simple drop. You think he cannot recreate us? Think about it. So we need to understand where we're going from here. Don't get caught up in dying. People are afraid, oh, I'm dying, I have cancer, oh, whatever this, I have a heart attack, oh, I had a stroke. Okay, this is a means of your death. The doctor comes to you and says, listen, I'm sorry to tell you, you got 3 months to live. Okay, fine. That's a blessing from Allah. You could have just had a heart attack and died. So this is a blessing. Allah's giving you, says, okay, the doctor says 3 months. Maybe it'll be more, but this is what the doctor observes from his ability. So you know, now, okay, my life has shrunk. Okay? What are my priorities going to be now? My priorities need to be, I need to take care of my next phase of my existence now. So what I need to do, I need to be on lockdown about this. I need to be on lockdown about what I'm doing. I mean, I need to be focused on what I'm doing. I cannot involve myself or around myself to be surrounded by any kind of foolishness or ignorance. I have to be following the path of light and stay completely away from the darkness and the people and subjects of darkness. Why? Because I want my grave to be like a garden of paradise. I want my grave, I want the light from paradise, the smell from paradise to be in my grave. I want it to be like a garden. I want it to be a peaceful place. I want my time in the grave to be a short time, not a long time. So we need to understand these things about this next phase. If we understand the next phase and we're preparing for this properly by having the proper relationship with our Creator, then we're okay. But if we're just following our desires or just following a bunch of idiots who are out there doing all kinds of things which are horrible, because people say, well, we have freedom of speech. We have freedom to do what we want to do with our bodies. No one can tell us what to do with our bodies. It's my body. It's my mind. Okay, fine. If you want to pursue that path, the path of darkness, you don't want to listen, then just wait and see where it takes you. And if you're an intelligent person, just look to the people who went before you. If you think that this is going to be beneficial for you and you think you will escape, then look and see what has happened to those who went before you. Do not be in denial about this. Understand who is your Lord. Look at the people who came to bring the message of truth to people historically. And look at what happened to those people who in denial. We have the stories. We have the stories of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the people who refuted him. We have before him the stories of Jesus alayhi salam. The people refuted him. We look at the stories of Moses alayhi salam. People refuted him. But still we'll find Christians and Jews in denial. So we're saying to particularly the people of the book, come to the ultimate truth. And that truth which was being presented by Moses, that was being presented by Jesus alayhi salam, and concluded by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for your own salvation's sake. My name is Tariq Khalid. I'd like to thank you for joining us here. Sharjah Media Corporation, getting to know your Lord, getting closer to Allah. Please, we hope and we pray that in these programs, you're feeling closer to your Lord, and the necessity of making effort to develop and strengthen your relationship with Allah for the sake of your own salvation, for your family, for your community, for your nation. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.